Our story begins in Jacksonville, Florida, a place known for sunshine, football, and apparently the birth of rap metal chaos. This is the story of Limp Bizkit, the band that turned teenage rage into platinum records, made Nookie a household word, and proved that sometimes you really should take it all the way. It all started in 1994 when Fred Durst, a tattoo artist with a knack for rapping and questionable fashion choices, decided to form a band with Sam Rivers on bass and John Otto on drums. They soon added Wes Borland, a guitarist who looked like he escaped from a Tim Burton movie, and DJ Lethal, formerly of House of Pain. Fun fact, the name Limp Bizkit was chosen because Fred wanted to do something so dumb that people would never forget it. Mission accomplished. They started playing local shows, mixing metal riffs, hip-hop beats, and pure chaos. Their demo tape spread fast, especially after Korn's bassist Fieldy passed one to producer Ross Robinson. Fun fact, if it wasn't for Korn, Limp Bizkit wouldn't even be a band. That's just something that I felt like I had to point out. And Limp Bizkit is another one of those bands that came out around the same time that Korn did, and then Slipknot later on in 1999 with their debut album. So yeah, it's one of those new metal bands. You know what I mean. Anyways, Ross heard it and said this is either genius or a crime. Either way, he did sign them. Now we're going to dive into their debut album, $3 Bill Y'all. This was produced by Ross Robinson, who also produced Korn's first two albums. This featured the breakout cover of George Michael's Faith, although Counterfeit is a lot better. This album was raw, aggressive, and full of attitude. It didn't just knock on the door of the music industry, it kicked it down and threw a chair through the window. Fred Durst would convince George Michael to let them cover Faith. George Michael later said it was the worst decision of his career. I gotta love it. This album gained traction thanks to relentless touring and MTV's love of anything loud and angry. By the late 90s, Limp Bizkit was the soundtrack to every teenager who thought their parents just didn't understand. Now we're going to move on to Significant Other. This would be their breakthrough album. It would sell over 60 million copies, and it featured Nookie, Break Stuff, and Rearrange as singles. Although Nobody Like You is one of their best deep cuts ever, and it features Scott Weiland of Stone Temple Pilots and Jonathan Davis of Korn on it. This was the moment Limp Bizkit went from underground to unstoppable. Nookie became a cultural phenomenon, even if no one under 18 actually knew what it meant. Fred Durst wrote Nookie about a breakup, so yes, one man's heartbreak became another man's mosh pit anthem. Break Stuff became the ultimate rage song and unfortunately the unofficial theme of Woodstock 99, where things got fiery, literally. Fred told the crowd to let it all out. They did, in the form of arson. Despite the controversy, Significant Other cemented Limp Bizkit as the kings of nu metal. They even got Dr. Dre and Eminem in the Break Stuff video. So they were huge in the 90s. Next one that we're going to talk about is Chocolate Starfish and the Hot Dog Flavored Water. This would debut at number 1 on Billboard. It was released in 2000, a year after Significant Other was released, and it sold over 1 million copies within its first week. And also, yes, that's the real title, and yes, it's exactly as immature as it sounds. This album was Limp Bizkit at their peak, loud, confident, and gloriously absurd. The title came from an inside joke. Chocolate Starfish refers to Fred himself. Don't Google it. And Hot Dog Flavored Water was a random tour bus joke. Hits like My Generation, Rollin' in My Way dominated MTV, and there's so many other good songs on it, like Livin' It Up, for example. That one's great. Obviously, Hot Dog has the most fucks in it. I think it has 57 fucks or some shit. I don't know. Look it up after. Look it up. There's a lot of fucks. Even The Undertaker ended up using Rollin' as his WWE entrance theme, proving that Limp Bizkit had officially entered pop culture immortality. Now, we're going to talk about the fallout and the Fred fatigue, quote unquote. By the early 2000s, Limp Bizkit was everywhere, and so was the backlash. Fred Durst became the face of nu metal and the internet's favorite punching bag. Fred briefly dated Britney Spears, allegedly, feuded with Eminem, and got booed at the 2003 MTV VMAs, all within the same year. Meanwhile, guitarist Wes Borland left the band, citing creative differences, which is rockstar code for "I can't take this bullshit no more." They would release Results May Vary, which is very, very weak compared to their previous work. Honestly, the couple songs that are good on it are Eat You Alive and a cover of The Who, Behind Blue Eyes. And even those don't match anything that they have done previously. So without Wes, the band's sound changed, and not for the good. Fans really weren't sure what to make of it. Fred's cover of Behind Blue Eyes became a hit in Europe, proving that even when people hate Limp Bizkit, they still kind of love Limp Bizkit. Now in 2004 through 2006 is when Wes Borland returned. They released The Unquestionable Truth Part 1, never got a Part 2, and the sound got darker, heavier, and surprisingly political. The band tried to reinvent themselves, less break stuff, more question authority, kind of like a Rage Against the Machine now that they're no longer making music. Fred released the album with almost no promotion, saying he wanted the music to speak for itself. Unfortunately, it whispered. The record didn't sell well, and Limp Bizkit quietly disappeared for a while. Now we're going to talk about their comeback, which is Gold Cobra in 2011. The first full album with the classic lineup since 2000, and it's a return to their classic sound. Unapologetic, loud, and self-aware. After years of silence, Limp Bizkit came back swinging, or more accurately, swaggering. Fred described Gold Cobra as fun, dumb, and heavy, which is basically the band's entire brand. The album got mixed reviews, but reminded everyone why Limp Bizkit was so entertaining in the first place. The band would end up signing with Lil Wayne's label Cash Money Records, because why not, in 2012. They even released a single together called Ready to Go. It was weird. No one was ready to go. Although the song isn't as bad as you might think, though, despite the interesting mix between the two. Fred Durst also directed movies during this period, including The Fanatic starring John Travolta, which became a cult classic for all the wrong reasons. Meanwhile, Limp Bizkit became a nostalgic act, headlining festivals and proving that people still love to yell break stuff after a long week at work. Now we're going to go into their album Still Sucks in 2021. Their first album in a decade, and it's a mix of self-parody, nostalgia, and surprisingly catchy tunes. Fred re-emerged with a new look. Gray hair, dad glasses, and a mustache, calling himself Dad Vibes. The internet lost its mind, and Dad Vibes became a meme before the song even dropped. The album was both a joke and a victory lap. Limp Bizkit embracing their legacy as the most self-aware band in rock. And they might still suck, but they suck on purpose. Most recently, they released a new album this year titled, what's it called again? Fucking Morgan Wallen or something? Oh, it's called Making Love to Morgan Wallen. The song is huge right now. It's all over Octane, which is a Sirius XM radio station for those that don't know. It's really, really big song, I promise. So they're killing it, and they are still doing festivals. I believe they're on Download Festival, I believe. Don't quote me on it. I really, really think they are on Download Festival next year. Anyways, guys, from tattoo shops in Florida to global fame, Limp Bizkit turned nu metal into a cultural phenomenon. Part rap, part rage, all ridiculous. They've been loved, hated, memed, and misunderstood, but they never stopped doing it their way. Anyways, guys, I hope you all enjoyed this video. Please leave a like and subscribe for more content just like this. Catch you guys in the next one.